Hey folks, man, this is Monk. We are back with another episode of Class of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, folks, man, and today we got an interesting fantasy film, and this one is going to be The NeverEnding Story from 1984. This film is directed by Wolfgang Petersen, and in this film, on his way to school, Bastian ducks into a bookstore to avoid bullies. Sneaking away with a book called The NeverEnding Story, Bastian begins reading it in the school attic. The novel is about Fantasia, a fantasy land threatened by the nothing, a darkness that destroys everything it touches. The kingdom needs the help of a human child to survive. When Bastian reads a description of himself in the book, he begins to wonder if Fantasia is real and needs him to survive. And this film stars Noah Hathaway. We also got Barret Oliver in this. We got Tammy Stronach, Alan Oppenheimer, Gerald McRaney, Moses Gunn. We've also got Thomas Hill, Bernard Eichinger, Daryl Cooksey, Deep Roy, Chris Eastman. It's funny I recognize Deep Roy because a lot of these other people are characters in the film. And I think those are most of our most notable
heavy
people
hitters.
in
Yeah.
here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, dude, out the gate, one thing that I really appreciate about this movie is the duality in the story. Like where you get Bastian as this like bullied loner who finds his comfort in books and reading them, but then the fact that he finds this never-ending story that has kind of a life force of its own, and with him reading it, it makes the characters in the book just as important and feel just as real as what we see with what he's going through. As a matter of fact, makes them more important. You know what I'm saying? And this whole, like, the concept of the nothing that is, sweeping through Fantasia. I mean, I really like it because metaphorically, it pretty much is, it's due to, books becoming obsolete in the modern world. You know what I'm saying? They're not being read as much, especially by the younger audiences. And if they are not providing the entertainment or not having a purpose, then, the characters and the worlds that they live in are going to no longer exist. And I just thought that was really, really cool.
It's funny how the old man, when he comes into the store to avoid the bullies, and he's like, what are you doing in here? So we just sell books, man. We don't do video games. We don't.
Yeah.
Our we got the classics. Our things don't make beeping noise.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because video games weren't that lit when this came out. They were okay, but
this was like the Atari era.
Yeah. Like, man. You had an Atari that was cool, but you're probably still going outside to play.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The Atari was for days when it was raining or something,
exactly,
or maybe late at night when you're not going out, street lights is on.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that
was kind of funny to me though.
There's only so much Pong you can play.
If he made that, if he made those same statements today, I would totally understand, man.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But and also like the other thing that I really like about the story is they infuse this warrior element in what we get from I keep wanting to say Anne Hathaway. It's not Anne Hathaway. Noah Hathaway.
Atreyu.
Atreyu. You know what I'm saying? And this, it's pretty much it's a fantasy adventure film, with a quest. Yeah. And the story is told through the quest. And it's
interesting too because it's still like a kid's point of view. Like even the characters, they're super young. Like Atreyu. Yeah, it's like he's the same age as Bastian. It's like
they're all about 11, 12 years old.
If you're a kid watching this, you're seeing yourself as these guys, as Bastian and Atreyu, and
or it kind of also feels like Atreyu is perceived to Bastian as what he wants to be. He wants to be brave. He wants to be a little because he is this bullied outcast. And then within this quest, I mean, my goodness gracious, Atreyu at 12 has to go through more than what adults have to go through. He has to travel this unthinkable amount of miles to get to the childlike empress.
It definitely has a journey. It's a hero's journey, in this film. And it's cool to me because it coming out in this era, like there were fantasy films at the time, but I think this one kind of stands up above the pack in a little way, just with the world building, and the stuff that they infuse into it, and the lore and the mythology of it, and it's just kind of cool the way it all comes together.
And also, that it has this childlike innocence. It's relatable to the younger crowd. I mean, like you compare a film like this to, like, let's say Conan. They're both adventure quests.
Yeah.
But significantly different. You know
A
little
bit different. Like this is definitely, even though Conan I would say is also fantasy, but Conan was still more just locked in its time period.
Yeah.
Like the fantastical stuff doesn't get as mythical and magical as this one does, you know?
Yes. And oh my gosh, let's take a brief moment of silence for Artax, the horse. That also was, I know that was damaging to a lot of young ones when they saw this, myself included. I mean, poor Atreyu having to go through the swamp of sadness with his horse, his only friend, and then we watch him sink and die.
Yeah.
Like, and you know,
it happens pretty early in the dang movie. Rewatching this, I was like, dang,
yeah,
like this, yeah.
Like, Noah Hathaway said, he was quoted to say that when he goes to like conventions and stuff, he has a basket with dollar bills in it and says that anybody who was scarred by that scene and a child, please take a dollar.
Yeah, he probably ain't got no dollars left by the end of that.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, dog, that's a deep well you digging in, bro.
But it's kind of cool, man, because, you know, like essentially the Nothing is just this entity that is wiping out this world slowly. So, you know, and we, as soon as Bastian opens the book, we're greeted with a group of characters who I really like these guys, man. And they're all, you know, coming from different realms of this kingdom, but they're all trying to get to the center of the kingdom, to where the princess is, and to talk to the council and figure out what's the plan. How are we going to stop this? This thing is taking all of our people out. And that's cool. That's what the magic starts happening to me. Because you're seeing these crazy environments, scenery that I think most of it really still holds up today, even though they're using older techniques, but it's still the imagination there. The design of it is beautiful, and it pulls you in, man. I love meeting the crew of characters. You know, the Rock Man, the Bat Guy.
Oh, Rock Man's great. The racing snail.
Like it's crazy, man. It's cool as shit, man.
You know, and you know, before I dive into how much I love the characters, I just also want to point out that Bastian's dad is a piece of shit. Dad, like he is not cool. He was played by who played him? His name's Gerald McRaney. And what more can you expect from the same guy who did the voice of Skeletor in the He-Man cartoon?
Wow, I had no idea, bro.
Yeah, so
I had no idea.
Yeah. I was like, man, you are a savage. But, you know, on the flip side of that, I loved what we got from, what's his name? Alan Oppenheimer. This dude, dog, he did the voice for Falkor, the Gamork, the Rockbiter, and was the narrator of the story. So I love when a voice actor can, you know, be multiverse and you know, and I mean, when you put the voice of Falkor next to the Gamork, like you wouldn't know it was the same guy. I mean, the way that his tonal shift and also just the demeanor of the character. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was really, really cool. And you know, the Gamork just, you know, I'm partial to werewolves. Love me some Silver Bullet, love me some American Werewolf in London. But man, he was, I really like the look and what he brought to the story, especially like with the glowing green eyes, always creeping in the caves and stuff.
Yeah,
really added
I guess
to
the
it.
Gamork is like the Nothing's enforcer, and
and
the Nothing, I think, is just more total destruction and wiping stuff out. So wiping stuff out. So he sends the Gamork in when he has more precise targets and stuff like that to take them out. And it's kind of an interesting relationship they have. But I really do like the Gamork's design too, because it definitely looks like a wolf. But man, when that thing starts talking, it's one of the creepiest things I ever saw as a kid.
Yes.
You know? Like I was happy my family was around the first time I watched this, you know, and then, you know, after I watched it, you know, HBO puts it on. I'm like, I'm glad it's like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And there's some sunlight still out as I'm watching him still. Like, even though I know how the movie ends, but it's just creepy, man.
Yes,
it puts really crazy
know,
thoughts in your head.
It was funny while I was doing one of my rewatches. Of course, my daughter, you know, she loves to do my rewatches with me, man. And when we first saw the Gamork, she just looked at me. She was like, you know, the Gamork used to scare the shit out of me when I was little. She was like, scared me so much she would fast forward the parts within a minute. You know what I'm saying? She wanted no parts of the Gamork. You know. But then on the flip side, I mean, you get Falkor, right? Which I mean, just like he is just so wholesome. Like Falkor is like crazy, a giant sized gizmo. Like everybody wanted a Falkor. Everyone wants a luck dragon. I mean, he looked like kind of like a dog, but you know, he could fly.
Was smoked out too.
Yes,
man.
he was
like,
super fried. Falcor was hanging with Puff. You know what I'm saying? Him and Puff the Magic Dragon, they hanging out, you know, behind the shed smoking. You know what I'm saying? And why he always tired? You know, he always want to lay down and shit.
There's some cool stuff in here, man. The unforgettable scenes, like the giant turtle that just popped up on the background.
Mora, yeah.
And it's just so cool, like, just to see that. Like, to the point, man, this film has inspired scenes in games. There's a scene in the new God of War with the giant turtle, you know, and they definitely get the idea that they got it from, you know, this turtle, man. And it's just cool, man. It's such an odd and goofy thing, but like, it works, man. You know, it just works because it's done with care and enthusiasm, you know.
And it works in every way. And, you know, like you said, these effects, they were done by, what's his name? Brian Johnson. And even though they are dated, they still hold up for me because what they do is they really intensify and add to this fantastical element of the film. This is what this film is all about. Like, the same as what you get in like Dark Crystal or Labyrinth. I mean, where you can look at these things and you know obviously that you're watching a movie, but God, it's great to just dive into this fantasy world.
There's a few scenes in here where you just pause it. That could be a dope poster. Like, just the way it's put together. So like, there's some art going on with this thing, man. Yes. It's just cool as hell, man.
And, you know, also these creatures of Fantasia, they all have very vivid personalities. Like, I love the Rockbiter. He's a gentle giant. I mean, this dude could crush anyone at any given time. And, you know, oh God, it still tugs on my heartstrings. Like, you know, you see him when he meets the two little dudes at the beginning, and they're all scared and he's eating the rocks. But then when he finally crosses paths with Atreyu, he's like, these hands, I thought they were strong hands, but I couldn't hold my friends. I couldn't save them. He's like Eeyore or something. Just so depressed.
It's like, the nothing just ripped them from my hands. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy, man.
And you know, this it's wild because, like, in this world where everything is so fantastical and you would think that there's all these joyful things and happy things. I mean, you got the nothing, but then there's this overwhelming emphasis on this sadness that looms over everybody, you know, in the swamp and just in what's going on. Every character
they encounter mentions it, that it's coming and it's definitely having an impact. I like, you know, when Falcor rescues Atreyu from the Grimork's first attack, and takes him to the old man and the woman, and even they're dealing with it, man. You know, they're just, and that one's an interesting scene too because, you know, he starts off going and getting information. Then there's like a couple of trials that he has to go to, and one of them is to pass through these sphinxes. You know what I'm saying? And you've got to have confidence and be sure of your will to get through it. And even that's kind of
blast you with a laser.
Really cool scene. Yeah. And he's just like willing and Bastian in the way. That's the thing that's kind of crazy to me too, because he's reading this book, but at the same time, this book seems to be magical. He's in it now. Yeah. He's a character that's in it. There's points where he breaks the fourth wall of the story where he reacts and the characters in the story hear him reacting. So that's kind of crazy.
When he's like, they look at Atreyu's like, the fuck?
And even later when he's trying to pass through the fences, he's like, Atreyu, do it.
Run!
Believe in yourself. Run.
And then, you know,
it's cool as shit, man. It's kind of crazy. It's a little goofy, but it's cool, man.
Exactly. Like, and as if the sphinxes weren't enough, then there is another obstacle where he has to look at the frozen mirror of truth, which will expose your inner self. So, when the little scientist, he was like, it'll make a brave man see his weakness. It'll make a happy man look sad. Dude, this is some deep, heavy material for a children's movie. Because, ultimately, it's also about, they're trying to tell the viewers, like, as young ones, man, believe in yourself, have confidence in yourself and your abilities to do what needs to be done as you progress through life.
It's all kinds of stuff that Bastian needs because, it's definitely his story, man. Which, like I said, man, this is kind of... I know they made a sequel to this film.
They did.
I never saw it, but
it was good.
But it's crazy, though, like, the idea that... My thought is that everyone that reads this book, the book gives them an adventure that's unique to them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's really a cool concept, man. it adapt to your qualities or what you need or the lessons that you need to learn. You know?
And I like that thought because I never looked at it like that. Like I always just viewed this as, okay, it's Bastian's story. You know what I'm saying? But that would be cool if the story like molds to the reader. You know what I'm saying? That's a really cool concept, man. And I mean, I would like to. I wish we had like a way to call Wolfgang and ask him because that's really dope. That's really dope. And also, when this film first came out, it kind of it didn't hit as hard as I thought that it would. I mean, as heavy as it does. I mean, it has a large cult following, obviously very impactful to a lot of individuals. But when it dropped, I mean, it on a $25 to $27 million budget, it grossed $100 million, which is great for 1984 numbers. But it really didn't come to its full potential until the videos and box office rentals, and then even like with the soundtrack and the music and everything. Like everyone knows the "NeverEnding Story" song. You know what I'm saying? And that's great. But what was really cool was in the third season of Stranger Things when Dustin sings the song with his girlfriend over the CB
that was
radio.
kind of cool throwback.
Just because I mean it's taken place in '84, and they said that there was a spike in numbers,
in the streams,
where the paid for streams for that song was kind of plateaued, and then after that episode, they went up to like 1.5 million buys a day or something like that for like a month. Something crazy like that. These wild numbers. So, I mean, that just goes to show that sometimes you just need to re-inject a little bit of life into, the property, and it will do what it needs to do.
Yeah. Another aspect that I like too is that with, we get Fantasia, but then Bastian's kind of in his own like little environment, in this attic. And it's kind of cool as he goes through the story. It's almost as if, again, the events in the book he's impacting the events in the book, and events in the book are impacting his world. All of a sudden, there's a storm. Weird stuff starts happening. Candles get blown out. It's the wind is coming in because it takes moments. Every now and then, we get a break where he's reflecting on what just happened. Yeah. And we see him sitting there still reading the book, and it's kind of cool too, man. It's like the way this. It's jumping back and forth.
One part I like too is when the Gamork was chasing after Atreyu. There's because he's hanging out in like what's like a storage closet in the school where like they have like all the like the
it's like the attic
play and art stuff. Like there's the costumes and things. And when the Gamork lunges for Atreyu, there's a part where like a wolf head kind of falls. Off the wall. It's like he's going through.
Why is that in there? Also, maybe making me thinking things that he's seen already. Now they're showing up in the book. That's kind of interesting.
One part it always gets a laugh out of me because when
was the Gamork there before he saw that head and sitting on the wall, or would it have been something else that he
like when Atreyu first wakes up, Artax is waking him up, and he's like, "Oh, you must be hungry. It's a great time to eat." And then Bastian's like, "You're right, it is." He goes and grabs this little lunch. He takes one bite out of his PB and J. It's like, "Oh, we gotta not too much. We gotta save this for later. It's a long journey." Dog.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man.
No one's telling you to camp out at school. Go home and get another sandwich.
I was like, this motherfucker ain't come home yet.
I mean,
maybe he made some friends.
That's true. Yeah, exactly, right? My goodness gracious.
Yeah. It's cool, man. I love that kind of stuff, man. This definitely feels like something out the 80s. Even the bullies, when I looked at them at the beginning, I think I put a picture. I was like, name this film based on these bullies, because this was a thing in these films in this era.
Yes.
The kid films, man. So yeah, that's kind of some cool stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, and then they make them get in the dumpster, and it was just watching this and being from that time, like we don't support or endorse bullying on any level, but bullying was just done so differently back in the day. It was so much more hands on. You know what I'm saying? Where now it's done more, cyberly and video recording and all that craziness, which that's not cool. That's not cool at all. But like back in the day, I mean, these guys, they chase him down and they're like, "Yeah, give us your money." He's like, he's 11. He don't got no bread. They're like, "Oh, no money? Get in the dumpster." And then they hang out by the dumpster when he comes out and they're like, "Oh, get back in the dumpster." They start chasing him again. That's what ends up taking him to the library. It's like, damn, like one dumpster dive ain't enough for this young man.
Yeah, dude, they was torturing him, man. That shit was great, man. But Well, I guess also, man, you know, overall, just the overall effects of this stuff, man. The character design is great, I think, and the environments. The only thing that I think doesn't hold up that well is Falcor flying, but I'll let it slide, man.
Yeah.
Overall, it's just still so cool, man. Especially the scene is on the background where he's talking to Falcor, and you realize that they built this giant animatronic head for him to interact with, and it just makes it so cool. And he's real expressive. His eyebrows, the mouth is moving, and all of that stuff.
Tongue
man.
hang out. And you know what's really cool too is the studio that this was shot in Germany. There is actually the Falcor doll or big thing is out there, and you can actually ride on his back.
Oh, that's
great. I mean, he's just out there. You know what I'm saying? So that's really dope. And also, like you said, it's you know, the amount of energy that went into creating the characters and the special effects and all that stuff, the look of them. But I love, like you said, the world building and the look, because I mean, it's not just, you know, what we get from the characters. The world gains and has a personality of its own as well through the film. You know what I mean? And I mean, it is just as trying and providing just as many obstacles for Atreyu on this journey as the characters that he's encountering. Like there's not much of a difference between the Gmork and the Swamp of Sadness. They're both evil. And they'll take you out.
It's all trying to get to the same thing, man. So even it's kind of interesting too, because even, you know, that scene later on where Atreyu, he kind of feels like he's failed, and then and he runs into the Gmork, and then the Gmork is like, because I failed to get this dude named Atreyu. The nothing just fired me, basically, you know. And then Atreyu realizes, oh, you that motherfucker that's been looking at me. And then he bucks up. He's like, yeah, it was me. I'm Atreyu. Like, whatever.
If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna fight, baby. He grabs a little broken piece of glass or something.
Goofy, man. But see, that scene is so dope because we get a long Gmork dialogue, and that's when he really creeps me the fuck out. And when he says that, he has that look on his face, like, and he jumps out, and then, it's so goofy, though. I mean, he stabs him as he pounces on him and kills him, but, I really didn't expect no long, drawn-out fight. That was good enough.
That was good enough. And
by then, I was already shook, When that happened as a kid, I thought Atreyu, that was his ass.
Yes, exactly. I mean, and then those eyes, those glowing green eyes.
To humanize the Gmork's face, I think is what makes him so scary. Yes. Man. That was cool, dude.
And, the like I said, the testament again to the voice acting, because, I mean, he really sounded creepy. He just sounded like he had ill intentions. And man, that was really cool. But then also, I like how as after he beats the Gmork, it's like, you would think at that point the problems are done, and it's still not over. Like, he finds,
I feel like the Gmork was a symptom. I mean, or the nothing was a symptom. It's not really the real true entity.
It's cool, because then when he finds the childlike empress, she's like, we need this human presence to give me a name and do all these things. And he's like, well, you knew all this was going to happen. Why did I have to go through all this shit? She was like, because we had to pull the human in. We had to make him feel
it's
what
almost
we're going
like
through.
Freddy Krueger, but the good version. Like Freddy's power comes from people believing in it, people fearing it. Fantasia doesn't exist without children and the people and the readers believing in it. That's kind of an interesting thing too, that it comes around to like in a way it's kind of speaking to some of these books and the arts. Like if there's no patrons, these things fade away and they get lost to time.
That's it.
If people forget about, nobody reads Moby Dick anymore, it's just going to be a lost legend, or it's just going to fade away. I mean, like things do. So
hey, what's a book if nobody's reading it, man? If nobody's telling that story, man? And I just thought that was really cool to just bring it full circle and then re-emphasize the importance of having an imagination, and also expanding your world and your beliefs, and just the importance of reading. It's important. You know what I'm saying? Even if you like to do it, don't like to do it, we all, especially it's a necessity of life.
Especially being a film fan, and you realize, I would say maybe 65-70% of most films ever made are derivative of something that was written, a book, or, some kind of book that's been remixed and redone. Like, even you think about how many films that were made off The Most Dangerous Game, just that one book spawned probably like a dozen films with the same premise, that some of them are hits, some of them aren't so good, but still, like a lot of, life, even the Moby Dick idea, the guy that's trying to get his whale, you know, and that becomes, you know, turned into films and film ideas, you know.
And I mean, even though, you know, it is duly noted we are film lovers, when you really get down to the meat and potatoes of it, books were the first movies.
Yeah, Philip K. Dick alone probably created half of every sci-fi film ever made just from his books. Like, you know,
because I mean, just think before there was movies, before there were cameras, before there were TVs, there were always books. You know what I'm saying? And you know, people that was a sole source of entertainment for so long before the technical advancements that we have. So I mean, it's you know, cool, I think it's really cool that they really put emphasis on that because it is important.
Yeah, it all comes together in one of the greats for me, man. You know, it's just, you know, if you compare it to what we've got today, you know, you could probably pick it apart, but I think this thing is awesome, man. You know, and this is one too that I would like to see a really passionate director attempt to tackle it with modern technology and maybe a more skillful actor set, you know, and just see what we can get, man, and just have some fun with it, you know, not necessarily try to replace it, because I don't think this one it's good enough that it can stand up on its own, and it's still, the story is timeless, you know?
It is timeless. And, you know, if they were to re-explore this property, I would also like them to dive a little more into the effects of The Nothing. I mean, they could take a little bit more of a
Oh, man, the way we've done, because The Nothing is really like coming through like a natural disaster.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, like, we got Twister. We've had 12, what is that, 12 days or some shit. You know, them disaster films, they can make that
Day
look
After
crazy.
Tomorrow and all that stuff.
They can make The Nothing look crazy.
Yes,
dude.
that's what I'm saying. And then also, like, the effects. I mean, like, dude, just like I keep thinking of The Nothing, and then I think of that scene in Terminator 2 when Sarah Connor's like playing at the park, and then the bomb goes off. Oh, everyone's ashes.
Yo, why do Sphinxes had nipples like that? Like, that was wild to me. I was like, I think as a kid, even it alarmed me. I was like, yo, they kind of thick, bro.
Why them rocks got boobs?
You know, for a PG joint, I don't know. Maybe they let them slide.
You know, the 80s was a different time, man. Censorship was different, dog.
Maybe they let them slide because it was made in Germany, bro.
That's true. Crazy, and it made a stone.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't a real boob.
Yeah, this is wild. Yeah, overall, man, I think this is an awesome one, man. I think if you are a film fan, especially if you got kids, you owe it to yourself to sit down one day and just watch it with them and go on this journey, you know, and just expose them to this, man. I think it's cool. It's things like this definitely sparked my imagination as a kid, and also made me want to see more films, man.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I mean, a high level of rewatchability. And this is a timeless story. This is one that will never grow old, or you will never get tired of watching. Like you said, either if you have children or as an adult, or both, you know. Like, I remember, you know, when I first sat down and watched this with my daughter for the first time, you know what I'm saying? And it hit her the same way it hit me the first time. I was just watching her face, just the enjoyment of that this film provides, you know what I'm saying? This is definitely not only a great film for the younger crowd, but just a great film for the entertainment value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's it, folks. We can wrap this up, man. This has been another episode of Classes of Cinematics. Go watch NeverEnding Story this weekend or whenever, man. You know, it's still a great film. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you know when we drop new episodes. And follow us on Instagram at Classes of Cinematics. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
And it's Bobby Block. It's Bobby Blockbuster. That's all. You can catch me on the next show once my tongue ain't swollen.
Shit. You might want to get that looked at.
I know, right? God damn, I couldn't get my words out. What the hell's going on?
All right, so we out of here, man.